Football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
With the auto insurance market constantly changing, call a professional that will put your needs first. Ray Felton State Farm is a team of licensed professionals that will assess your risk, explain coverage in detail, and assure you understand what would happen if you ever found yourself in a claim situation. You can visit rayfelton.com or call their office at 234-284-2996 for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, and life insurance needs.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
And welcome, everybody, to Sports on Tap. This is the Sports on Tap high school football show presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. You got to hear about him and all of our other great sponsors right before the show. And make sure you listen on over the course of the show. We'll get more information from our fantastic sponsors. This is the my name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Professor Hype, Sean Duffy, Josh Jeffy, and Dr. Hoops Noah Jacobson. You're watching this live on our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us, hit subscribe, smash the notifications button, and get those notifications when we are about to go live on the air like we are just now. Make sure you follow us on Twitter/X at SOT Podcast to get live updates of the games that we are covering every Friday night. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at Sports on Tap, on Threads at SOT_podcasts. And of course, our website is sportsontappodcast.com. That's here to get all the scores, standings, schedules, where we're going to be. All the information is on the website. And for any sort of comments, questions, concerns, pronunciations, suggestions, make sure you send us a note at sportsontappodcast@gmail.com. And we have just covered week 2 of the high school football playoffs, the regional quarterfinals. So we're down to the regional semis now, and there's a lot to talk about. Some of our teams are kind of falling by the wayside here, but we all of our conferences still have at least one team going. So you'll be able to find out who that is over the course of the next hour or so. Later in the show, we are going to be joined by Avon running back Jakorion Caffey around the 8:10, 8:15 area. He's a first-team all-district running back, which we just found out today. And we're also going to be joined by Buckeye running backs Gage, Nagy, and Troy McCann. They had a scintillating game against previously undefeated Norton. So we want to talk to them about their season and see what they have going on tap for the following week. We don't have the Inland District players of the district yet, the players of the year yet. So hopefully once that comes out, we'll be able to talk about that as well. But we are going to cover 5 regions: Division I, Region 1, Division 2, Region 5, Division 2, Region 6, Division 3, Region 9, and Division 3, Region 10. We have 2 games that we are at this week. One of them is going to come straight ahead from Division 1, Region 1. So without further ado, let's get to the recaps here. I'll start out with some of the games that we did not cover. So number 1 seed, the St. Edward Eagles, in the defense of their state championship, a 35-0 victory over Canton Glen Oak. And then the other side of the bracket, same side of the bracket actually, it was St. Ignatius against Canton McKinley. And again, the record for St. Ignatius does not look the best. However, again, they played a very tough schedule, and they certainly gave McKinley a game. It was a Hail Mary that got intercepted in the end zone that got the Duke for Canton McKinley. Canton McKinley moves on with a 28-24 victory. The 4 beats the 12. All right, and then let's get into our coverage now. We will first start from the Southwestern Conference. The Berea Mid-Park Titans traveled to Cleveland Heights to take on the Greater Cleveland Conference champion Tigers. And the score doesn't look great, but I assure you, Coach Huna and the Titans put up as good of a fight as they could there, Rob.
Yeah, it was a tough one for Berea Mid-Park, but they did play tough. And on their first drive of the game, it ended in a botched long snap on 4th down, and it was down on the Titans' 3-yard line. And that's something when it comes down to these playoffs and really good teams, you just can't make those kind of mistakes. Eventually, Cleveland Heights would score. And actually, Cleveland Heights, and Noah loves saying it, Marquise Do-It-All Davis, he scored early on in the game. They scored 68 yards on the first drive they had. They were quickly up 14-0 in this game, and it was early on in the first half. So the Titans, they did their best to try and score here. They had opportunities at the end of the first half, but of course, they ran out of time after a deep ball from quarterback Daniel Bowser to Austin Clay. Clay had a chance to get to the end zone, but he was pulled down by defenders right before the goal line, and the clock went to 00. So that was a struggle for Berea Mid-Park. As they had some chances, they just couldn't pull it off here They ended their season 7-5 with a 35-0 loss. And no, I know you probably have a bunch on Cleveland Heights because this is a team that seems like they're just really hot right now. And, I know Coach Stevens said they didn't get past the second round last year and in years past, and now they've done it. So I know they're probably riding pretty high right now.
Definitely, Rob. And Coach Stevens kind of grouped together his whole team and told them, like, guys, we've been in this situation before where we were playing against St. Nations, and I think it was a 35-0 lead that they blew, but they pretty much got it done against a Southwestern Conference team in Berea Mid-Park. For Cleveland Heights, Henry Perriman had a pick-6 touchdown in this game, and then Jaquan Stubbs, one of their big defensive linemen, he batted a pass from Daniel Bowser down and picked it off for another pick-6. Quarterback Amar Lakes had a rushing touchdown this game. And then John Gordon Jr., their backup running back and cornerback, had 2 interceptions in the first half as Cleveland Heights will go on to win 35-0 over Berea Mid-Park. It'll be the first time that Cleveland Heights will play in the regional semifinals for the first time in their program history. So congratulations to Coach Max Stevens and his whole group as they would go on to win 35-0 over Berea Mid-Park.
Yeah, they had the offensive player of the year for Division I. The Lakes District was Marquise Davis. The defensive player of the year was Andrew Hanchuk from Berea Mid-Park, and the coach of the year was Max Stevens from Cleveland Heights. So, there certainly was no shortage of stars on the field for these between both of these teams, and the turnovers in the scoring defense of Cleveland Heights, obviously the biggest difference here. That spelled really the biggest part of the defeat for Berea Mid-Park. If you're giving up 2 touchdowns on defense against a team that can put them up offensively, and then it's just you can't say enough about the defensive effort by Cleveland Heights, and they're certainly going to need that given their future opponent coming up here in next week. So let's move on to that. This was one of the SOT feature games of the week, covered live on X. It's SOT Podcast. Noah Jacobson was at Art Wright Stadium in Wadsworth to see the number 6 seed Medina Battling Bees taking on the number 3 Wadsworth Grizzlies. Noah, take this away.
All right, well, thank you, Ed. And yeah, it was a pretty cool moment being at Art Wright Stadium in Wadsworth for the first time, and a great atmosphere as you particularly. I mean, 2 Medina County teams in this matchup. The number 6 seed Medina Bees, they were taking on the number 3 seed Wadsworth Grizzlies. And guys, this was the game you wanted to watch from the start of the game to the end of the game. Wadsworth quarterback Will Stack scored a rushing touchdown in this game. That made it 6-0. But Medina wide receiver, who also plays a kick returner, Jack Wojak, he had a 96-yard return touchdown in this game. That made it 7-6 Medina. And then Will Stack found sophomore Gavin Madigan, who was having a breakout year for the Grizzlies, scored a touchdown in this one. That made it 12-7. But then not the pass, but it started to feel like Medina's getting their running game going a little bit as Cooper Jostepic scored a touchdown. That made it 15-12 Medina. But then Will Stack found Caden Shriver for a touchdown. That made it 19-15. But Danny Steyer threw a touchdown pass to Jack Wojak. And then Medina's 2 corners, Darnell Davis and Aiden Ruiz, had two interceptions late in the game to secure the victory for Medina as they would go on to win 22-19 over the Wadsworth Grizzlies. Medina quarterback Danny Steyer, he was 22 of 41 for 196 yards and a touchdown. He also did have 2 interceptions. Wide receiver Austin Knowles had 8 catches for 69 yards. Wide receiver Jack Wojak had 5 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. He also did have that kick return touchdown, as I mentioned in the show. And then running back Cooper Josephik had 7 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown, as Medina will go on to win 22-19 over the Wadsworth Grizzlies. And then Josh, in the Suburban League, Natty, I mean, you want to kind of dive into a little bit into this Wadsworth?
Well, this is now the 3rd time that Medina has beaten Wadsworth over the last 2 years. But every time these games are getting progressively closer, I'd give a lot of credit to Wadsworth defense. They're one of the few teams out there that gives the Medina offense some problems. It sucks for them that they lost again, and they're actually going home. But there's plenty to look forward to. They have quite a few underclassmen that are performing on the varsity level. Gavin Madigan being one of them, only a sophomore, but having a great season. He's going to be one of the ones that leads this continued success for Wadsworth as we look forward. Coach Todd's going to have that team. Unfortunately, it's not where they want it to finish, but that they're going to have that team ready to go and probably go on another run next year. They really have a solid foundation for a great program, great feeder system, the youth program. So although it's disappointing for them, they have plenty to look forward to in the near and distant future.
No doubt. We talked about it with Coach Todd and I think with Will earlier this year. Kyle. We had Kyle Figueroa on. I think Will came on too. Actually,
yes, he did.
By the time Kyle had come on, a lot of the sophomores had really started coming up and making big contributions on the varsity level. And when you're getting that much production from your sophomores and you are a contending team, that amplifies their development that much more. And now they've seen the live action, how fast it is on the varsity level on Friday nights, and they're going to be able to adjust to it pretty quickly with a full off season, knowing that they're probably going to be starters as juniors, but knowing that they have to keep that chip on the shoulder.
Correct. Very, very true.
And how impressive is it? Wadsworth held Medina to 22 points. I mean, Cleveland Heights gave up 60 or something. I mean, it was Cleveland Heights and Medina earlier this season, and I mean, it was a shootout. I don't know if defense was optional in that game.
Well, that just goes to show what kind of program Medina is. They have the ability to adapt to the style of game that's being played, the style of defense that they're going up against, specifically speaking towards the Medina offense, because that's what they're most known for, at least the past few years. And Noah's been to quite a few games. I've been to quite a few games in the past. Last year was all about passing. They were just passing we call them the Air Bees. This year, they really tried to establish that running game. And in this game they did. And that's because the defenses were playing that pass and were really starting to do well on that, taking that away from them. And then they just are a really well-coached team and were able to get the running game going.
As Coach Laird said it, this happened with how they play. Like they play aggressive, and that's how they're going to roll. They're going to go front and fourth down. They're going to take shots that a lot of teams aren't normally going to take. But that's the mindset, that's the style, and it's obviously served them very well over the last 5 or 6 years with the level of success that they've had. And we'll obviously talk about the battle they're going to be they have coming up against Cleveland Heights next week here soon, a little bit later in the show. But a great effort by Wadsworth, but Medina got dragged in the mud. Not in the mud because it's actually turf there, but they got dragged down and they came out on top, which is a credit, as Josh said, to them. Rob, real quick, let's get back to Berea Mid-Park, being that their season is over. Same kind of development for Coach Unick. Every year they seem to be taking another step forward. They won their first playoff game a few years ago against Brunswick. They won their first home playoff game this year. And obviously came up against a very tough opponent in Cleveland Heights. The cupboard certainly isn't bare for Coach Unick there either.
No, yeah, and I think they definitely took a step forward this year. I mean, their defense was impressive. I think the one thing with a lot of these teams are you have to figure out that Avon team because, I mean, so far nobody has been able to figure them out in the Southwestern Conference. But past that, I mean, Berea Mid-Park is starting to really compete with the Olmsted Falls, the Avon Lakes. Those three teams with Avon are always at the top. And I think now, even Amherst, I thought this year had a better season, and they're competing. So a lot of these teams, I think, are starting to figure out how it works a little bit. And Coach Unick, every season, I think you see this team get better. They have some D1 college prospects in Berea Mid-Park, and they got hot at the right time too. Let's not forget they were on a little bit of a roll. I mean, Cleveland Heights is just they have athletes all over the place. But give credit to Berea Mid-Park and Coach Unick. I think every season they get better and better, and he gets the most out of his players. There's no doubt. Offensively, we know they can put up points, but the defense, I think, each year has really gotten better.
And we'll see. Absolutely, and we look forward to seeing. We'll certainly look forward to seeing how their offseason goes, and as they turn the leaf into the 2024 season. All right, let's shift over to Division 2, Region 5. And the first matchup we'll skip. We will talk. The only game that's not covered by us was Walsh Jesuit took on Austintown. Fitch and Walsh comes away with a very impressive 58-21 victory over Austintown. Austintown's a good program. They play some very tough teams, and that is certainly not a joke of a program. So that's a great win by Walsh Jesuit. The number 2 seed certainly proves why they are the number 2 seed. All right, let's go to Sean. Let's start with the game here. Archbishop Holman, the perennial regional champions, took on Barberton, and the score doesn't look very great, but we know what kind of team Barberton is and the effort that they gave.
Well, for the second consecutive year, Barberton's season has been ended by Hoban. So Hoban does what Hoban does, and they beat Barberton in the second round of the Division II Region 5 playoffs. They just, unfortunately, Barberton is just it seems to be their destiny the last couple of years to win a game pretty well first round and then run into Hoban, which, again, we've said this multiple times that this region, and to be quite honest with you, Division II overall is really Hoban's domain. They're a dominant team, and they proved it Friday night as they dominated Barberton 41-7. Barberton was down 20-0 at halftime. Their lone score came on an 11-yard pass from Dominic Wilson to Angelo Harper late in the third quarter. But again, Hoban was at that point just pouring it on, making a statement. Unfortunately, this ends Barberton's season. Nothing at all to be ashamed of for the Magics. They were a team that I don't think anybody really wanted to go with down the stretch. They took Aurora to the edge. They showed up well. They dominated some of the upstarts in the Suburban American. They were a fun team to follow. They finished the year overall 7-5. Again, guys, obviously this game doesn't breed it, but I mean, we talked about players like Dominic Wilson, Angelo Harper, Xavier Macon last week alone carried this team on his shoulders, and Noah did a great job bringing that out. But again, this Barberton Magics team has nothing to hang their head about because, again, you're facing the number 1 seed realistically in Division II in the state. I mean, I don't know if there's a better team out there than Hoban. I know there's probably a bunch of teams that think they are, but let's be quite honest. This division, this region goes through Hoban. And until Hoban relinquishes that stranglehold, everyone else is playing for second place. And that's no joke when you talk about a team like Hoban. But good on Barberton, 7-5, good year, good campaign in 2023. Some history-making things for Barberton. Coach Gatto surpassed Rudy Sharkey for the wins total. I think I'm pretty sure Noah confirmed to me the other day that the athletic director at Barberton liked my idea of Tony Gatto Field at Rudy Sharkey Stadium. I don't like to take credit for those amazing ideas that I have, but I listen. If you want to say,
but you'll take it. You'll take it.
I don't seek it, guys, but I'll take it. But that's it for the Suburban American League, Suburban American Conference in Division II Region 5. I'm interested to see what happened between these other matchups because we got a little natty-verse going on in this one here, and I would love to hear about all of our favorite team, the Cinderella story, fresh out of nowhere, the Twinsburg Tigers taking on Riverside.
Well, I really wouldn't call them a Cinderella, especially if Coach Salter is here. Do not call them a Cinderella because he'd probably make you run some laps or do some gassers.
He ain't making me run laps. I don't run laps for anything.
I don't think anything's going to make you you're going to need an act of God to make you do that. But
it's a slow jog and a fast walk is what it is. I don't run anywhere.
What was your time? I don't know, son. Don't have a sundial. But anyways, we're going to talk about Painesville, Riverside, and Twinsburg, and we'll actually give props to Twinsburg in this one. They ran I saw this on Max Prex. They ran 84 plays and had 23 first downs in this game. They were actually down in the fourth quarter, 35-17 with 4 minutes and 44 seconds to play. And then, according to the article I was reading on the Akron Beacon Journal, it kind of seemed like the last parts of this game were crazy. 3 touchdowns were scored in the final 2 minutes of this game. Cameron Wright for Twinsburg had a TD reception. He caught that with 1:50 left. Riverside then scored with 58 seconds left. And then Joey Pollock, the quarterback for Twinsburg, with 23 seconds left, scored on a 3-yard touchdown run. The onside kick attempt was no good in this one, and that's actually how the game would end. 42-30, Riverside would defeat Twinsburg. But give props to Twinsburg. Joey Pollock in this game had 3 passing touchdowns. He did add a rushing touchdown, and he is only a junior, so he's coming back for his senior year. Twinsburg does finish the season 7-5. By all accounts, this was a very successful year for them. First time in the playoffs since 2010. They got that first victory against rival Nordonia. Coach Schalter has that program on the up. And when you have a playmaker like Joey Pollock coming back again to lead that offense and to lead that team, things are looking up for the Tigers in this one. I'm not going to lie to you. I was rooting for them like crazy. Just a fun team to be around with that coaching staff, the players, the fans. That game last week was awesome. Unfortunately, they just ran into one of the Division II, Region 5 powerhouses in Riverside. They can compete with Division I teams. But when you're talking about this division and this region, these teams can compete with anyone on Division I, in my opinion. And the competition level is really good. So props to Twinsburg on their great season. I think nothing but good things. This is the kind of season that really lays a solid foundation for continued growth and continued success. And I think that's what they're going to have with Coach Schalter at the helm.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that, Josh. And I was actually, when I looked at this and I was taking my own notes of the Barberton Hoban game, I'm like, wow, Twinsburg had this and they did everything they could. But this is one of those galvanizing or foundational seasons for a program like Twinsburg. The last year was there was some success late in the year. This is sustained success pretty much throughout the year. They fought a lot. Again, you're disappointed now come Monday because you should be getting prepped up for the semis. But you know what? You're going to look back in 2-3 weeks and realize, hey, we had a great season. And those kids put in the time. Those coaches put in the time. So very, very, very good job to the Twinsburg Tigers. Will be a force in the Natty come next year, I think. We'll be one of the programs we're talking about.
Yeah, and I think if they would have got that onside, they probably would have won the game the way they were scoring at about a 20-second rate. They might have gotten the onside, gone down, scored, kick another onside. If you get it,
yeah. The way things are going, who knows what would happen in this one? It just, it's one of those things where they just fell down too much too late, and just didn't quite have enough to come back. But hell of an effort, I'll give them that.
Oh man, yeah, great effort. They had a great year.
No doubt. And we talked with Jaden Dye last week. Great student athlete, and they stuck to their game plan. And like you said, they ran into a buzzsaw, a literal buzzsaw with the Beavers of Painesville Riverside.
I see what you did there. Nice job.
Right?
Good effort. Good effort.
Right. That's right. I'm not
got all damned up with the Beavers.
All right, too much. Much.
I was on mine, but
not too much, guys. You're just mad you didn't think of it first. That's all you did.
I'm mad I didn't transition earlier. Moving on to number 3 seed Hudson Explorers hosted the Warren Harding Raiders, and Josh has this one as well.
Yeah, Hudson for the second week in a row, giving their fans and their fellow student body their money's worth when they go to these games. We'll move down to the fourth quarter where actually Hudson was down 21-17, about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Hudson had a nice drive, and Peyton Nair, the quarterback, was able to hit Trey Sharp for 35 yards out with 3 minutes and 47 seconds left. They hit the extra point, and actually that would be the eventual game winner as they went on to a 24-21 victory over Warren Harding. Last week's game went into overtime, and they had a 21-20 victory. This week made it not so dramatic, but still dramatic probably if you were there. But they still came away with a victory in this one. Again, no Ian Ludwig in this one. But as usual, Tegan O'Gwyn filled in rather nicely for him. He had 15 carries, 86 yards, and he did have a 24-yard touchdown reception in this game. But the aforementioned Peyton Nair, the quarterback, 11 of 15, efficient, 202 yards, 3 touchdown passes. He also added 51 yards on 14 carries. Trey Sharp had 4 receptions for 87 yards, and that very important touchdown to eventually win the game. They improved to 9-2, and they will continue on into the regional semifinals. But it's going to be a tough task because we'll get into that a little bit later.
As you mentioned, I mean, we mentioned this, with Medina being playing a game that, I mean, they may not be suited as familiar with playing. Hudson, same thing, without Ian Ludwig, and they're still able to come away with a victory against a very good team in the playoffs, no less. It just speaks to the program that Hudson is, and they have been for the better part of a decade now. And they will, with that, they will move on. All right, let's shift over to Division II, Region 6, and our fingerprints are all over this region here. There is not a game that we don't have some sort of coverage in. So let's start with the number 1 seed, the Avon Eagles, taking on the Natty Conference's Brecksville. He's on mute. Oh, boy. To be fair, I didn't really set that up very well, so that's my fault.
You always got to be ready. He knows it's coming when we talk. He knows it's coming. He's got to be ready.
Let's start. Let's start on the Brecksville side. I think this will go relatively quickly, and then Rob can take it from there. But I mean, I would say, in your words, Josh, when it comes to us pronouncing anything, a great effort. Great effort by Brecksville in this one.
Yeah, you know what? They did get the first score of the game. Colin Siebert had a 1-yard touchdown run, but their defense has been solid all year, but they just don't have enough offensively to keep up with a team like Avon. And their defense, looking from Cleveland.com, Avon, they were interviewing some of the Avon players, and they were talking about the Brecksville defense being really good. So they really honed in on what they had to do on the offensive end. And they did a good job because the Brecksville defense gave up 18 first downs and 447 yards of total offense to the Eagles. So, Avon had things clicking, and just Brecksville, they just didn't. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough weapons to keep up. They basically brought a knife to a gunfight in this one, but they did finish the season 6-6, which is nothing to be ashamed of by any stretch of the imagination. And to win a first-round playoff game, again, they're going to have some key pieces coming back next year. So I think this is one of those things where they can continue to build. And guys, the Suburban Natty is going to be really, really good next year, just like it was this year. And I think he has the ability, the opportunity to be even better next year.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, like Josh said, the Bees actually got out and scored first in this game. And it seems like every week when Avon plays, they get off to a slow start. But in this one, they did answer as Matt Maxey, the wide receiver, he caught a 13-yard pass from Nolan Good, who played the majority of this game. Also, running back Jakorion Caffey, who will be coming on here in the next 15 minutes, so stick around for that. He would score the next 4 touchdowns in this game. They trailed 7-0, and all of a sudden at half it was 28-7. And Jakorion Caffey was a pretty big part of that. Give credit to the Eagles' defense too. Avon held Brecksville to 175 yards of total offense, but the Eagles they were balanced, rushing the football. They had 259 yards rushing, and 174 came from Jakorion Caffey with 4 touchdowns. But in the game, Avon did pass for 188 yards. So, they're one of those teams that, they're like Medina. They can score at a crazy rate there. They can win by rushing the ball. They can win by passing, or they can win a real close game, which they had with Glenville early on this season. Their defense comes to play and can win any which way, but they always find a way to win the game, and they played very well in this one. And give credit to, like you said, the Bees hung around and got off to a quick start. They just didn't have enough in this one.
With that, Avon moves on as they are, up until recent and up until last year, they're pretty much the undisputed kings of Division II, Region 6. But they will move on to the next round. All right, Olmsted Falls traveled to Sylvania to take on Southview, and Rob, an exciting game this was.
Yeah, and in this game at Southview, they got off to a quick start. It was a 77-yard pass they scored on Will Mays to Amit Lamb on the opening offensive play of the game. But then Olmsted Falls, they would answer on a 25-yard touchdown run from Jimmy Rossell and a 2-yard touchdown run from Derek Neckar. And all of a sudden, it was 14-7 in this game. Derek Neckar, he rushed up the middle. He scored on a 23-yard touchdown run. Gave Olmsted Falls a 28-14 lead at one point, and it kind of went back and forth. Sylvania Southview, they did hang around as they would score again, but Trent Habernicki, the running back for Olmsted Falls, he would score on a 5-yard touchdown run, and that was really the difference in this one, as they were up 35 to 21, and Southview would score one more time. But Olmsted Falls held off Southview on a 35-28 final score. Southview, they end their season at 8-4. But the Bulldogs, they were led by Derek Neckar. He had 134 yards and 2 touchdowns, and quarterback Jimmy Rossell didn't pass very much, but 115 and a touchdown. So, in this game, a lot of running for Olmsted Falls, which is their strength. And they kind of controlled the ball offensively in this one as they advance.
What a great win by Olmsted Falls. And they always seem to show up in playoff time.
Yeah.
They play. We always talked about the meat grinder that is the Southwestern Conference. So when they get a chance to play teams that are outside of their conference, they usually it's a tough go for those non-conference teams. And Sylvania Southwest certainly felt that pain in this game. So Olmsted Falls with the win will move on. All right, Avon Lake traveled to White House to take on Anthony Wayne, and this game was not as good for Avon Lake as Olmsted Falls was for Sylvania, Rob.
Yeah, and Anthony Wayne, they scored first in this one, but Avon Lake, they answered right away. And a guest that we had on the show last week, and if you want to go watch that interview, go to Sports on Tap's YouTube page, and you can watch all of our interviews with some of these great student athletes. Running back Anthony Benedict, he had a 39-yard pass from quarterback Alex Afalter. That would tie the game. But Anthony Wayne, they just got in a groove offensively and eventually got on a roll. They were up 31-7 at halftime in this game. And Avon Lake, they would score once more with Alex Afalter, the quarterback for Avon Lake. But the Shoremen just did not have enough in this one. And offensively, the Shoremen wanted to run the football and they couldn't do it as much as they wanted. Jake Bova, he led the Shoremen. He had 123 yards rushing, but a lot of the other players were held in check. And quarterback Alex Afalter, he had a really solid game, 173 yards and a touchdown, also rushing for 10 yards and a touchdown. But Anthony Wayne's defense really contained Avon Lake's playmakers in this one, and they went 59-14. Avon Lake, though, a very, very good season for them as they fall. And obviously, they're always there when it comes to the playoffs, and they're right at the SWC, right at the top. We'll see how they do next year. They have a lot of young talent coming in, and they're going to lose some playmakers next year. But let's see how they return next year. But a good season by Avon Lake as they fall there.
Yeah, Coach Kostelnik has really continued on the program that he played in back in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, and Avon Lake isn't going away anytime soon, and it really just it talks to the strength of the conferences that we cover. That in this specific region, you have at least 4 Southwestern Conference teams that were still playing. They all got victories. Berea Mid-Park got a victory in Division I, Region 1. Same with the rest of our conferences as well. So, the coverage area has a lot of strong teams, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Top to bottom. I mean, 5 teams in Southwestern Conference, at the very least, 5 teams made it. I would say more than about half, maybe a little bit more than half of our teams all made the playoffs. So, so just really, really good, really good season, even though some of those seasons are now over. All right, this is a Southwestern Conference versus the Suburban League American Conference. North Ridgeville traveled to Highland to take on the Hornets at North Gateway Tire Field. Let's start with Rob on this one. North Ridgeville, from their side of things, it was a tight start to the game, from what I understand. Talk about it from your side.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was knotted at 7 in the first half. I mean, they were tied because of Andrew Ennis, the running back for North Ridgeville. He would score on a 23-yard touchdown. But give credit to the Highland defense. I mean, they held the Rangers' run game in check in this one. 113 total rushing yards on the night for North Ridgeville, and they contained Charlie Steinmetz to 31 yards rushing. Zach Barnhart, he also played. He was back in this game. 42 yards rushing is all he could get, and their quarterback actually was back, and his name skips my mind, but he did play a little bit. I think he threw a pass in this one. They, I think, wanted to see what he could do in this. Didn't have a huge game plan with him, but the running game, obviously, North Ridgeville wanted to keep it out of Highland's hands, but the defense of Highland knew what was coming and did a great job there.
Yeah, they certainly did, Rob. And again, they dominated North Ridgeville in the second half of this game. Mm-hmm. And all things this game flowed through Highland quarterback Peyton Janikis, who accounted for 3 total touchdowns. 2 of those touchdowns were passes to, some of the usual suspects for the Highland Hornets. Casey Miser had a touchdown reception. Matt Syriac had a touchdown reception. Peyton Janikis also ran in a touchdown on his own, and Evan Grant scored a touchdown for the Hornets. But going back to the offense, to the defense for 1 second, they were able to hold North Ridgeville to a pretty prolific offense all year. And that's kind of what we talk about when we talk about Highland's defense. Last year it was historic, right? It was one of those things that we thought, my God, no one's going to be able to score a point on these guys at this stage of the playoffs. What you're seeing a little bit now is their defense kind of is in that same realm of maybe Medina or even like who are we talking about, Division I, where they kind of feel out the game. What kind of a game is it going to be? Is it going to be a rock fight? Because they can do it in a rock fight. That Aurora loss, I think, really allowed them to say, look, we lost a close game there. And it wasn't a runaway. No one had gaudy stats from that game, but we defensively made enough plays to give us an opportunity to win. Offensively, we didn't do what we needed to do. And have that type of lesson to learn at week 10 going into a playoff run, I think is, obviously Coach Gibbons is not going to say that it was what the doctor ordered, but it kind of is, right? Like, to have that punch in the mouth before you start playoffs, now you start with a chip on your shoulder, and now you're playing a little bit more nasty defense. And I think we're seeing that from Highland right now, a little bit more nastier defense, and having that ability now to play complementary football and win, put points on the board and stop teams, especially North Ridgeville, who, let's be honest, guys, they were the surprise of this year. They were throwing punches in each game. They had a very good offense. Production level was there. They were a problem. They didn't get to this point by accident. They were a problem for a lot of teams. Obviously, in the Southwestern Conference, there's like 3 teams that are bigger problems to deal with, and 2 of those are in the city of Avon and Avon Lake. But you know what I'm saying? Like, North Ridgeville was there, and they were a team that I classify with Barberton. Like, nobody really wanted to play with them because North Ridgeville is a team that can come up and bite you. And I think Highland, again, having that loss at week 10 and kind of setting the tone for going into this makes Highland a more dangerous team and a more focused team, I think. And I think Coach Gibbons, while probably would like the Suburban League Athletic or American Conference Championship, is probably saying, okay, we didn't get that, but I got a team now that's angry, and they're playing angry, and they're playing tough. And now all of a sudden there could be a force to reckon with in this division.
No doubt. Highland has certainly proven that they're big time playoff performers. No doubt about that. And North Ridgeville, I think you summarized it perfectly. And I think Rob would agree. I mean, they have a lot coming back. Charlie Steinmetz, Zach Barnhart. I mean, that's a great 1-2 combination in the backfield. They got good wins. They beat Avon Lake and Olmsted Falls in the same year, which is a feat that really only Avon's been able to do, over the last decade or so. So there's certainly a lot to look forward to if you're a North Ridgeville fan in the future here. So let's shift. We have a few minutes before Jakorion comes on. Rob, is he on?
No, he's not.
Okay. I want to give the time that it deserves because we were at this game. So let's, Sean, let's shift over to Division 3, Region 10 real quick. Let's knock that out, especially because we have those guests coming on a little bit later. So we'll go over Division 3, Region 10, and then we come back from our interviews. We'll finish Division 3, Region 9 because we have coverage of that game.
Yep.
I don't want to shortchange Josh on that. So let's move forward here. Not so much the defending, but last year's Division 2 state champion, the Toledo Central Catholic Fighting Irish, the number 1 seed, hosted Defiance, and they get a 41-26 victory over Defiance. Toledo Central Catholic moves on to the semifinals. Tiffin Columbian gets a 55-35 victory over Ontario. So very good effort there by Tiffin Columbian. Rocky River took on Mansfield Senior. This game was played under very unique circumstances. Due to safety concerns in Mansfield, the game was moved from Mansfield to Rocky River. More concerning and probably something that needed to be done for safety purposes. But this game was played in front of no fans. Nobody was allowed in the stadium for this one. So not even Rocky River fans. So, you saw, I think I saw an article on the news. Rocky River had watch parties around the city, and Mansfield was able to listen to it through their own feeds. Mansfield Senior was the home team. They took the home side of the stands and the like. After a Tigers touchdown, Rocky River scored on their first play from scrimmage an 80-yard touchdown pass from Julian Patty to Ryan Ricchetti. The Tigers scored the next 21 points before Patty hit Ricchetti a second time. This was a 70-yard touchdown pass off of a tip. But unfortunately for Rocky River, Mansfield was just too strong. They forced turnovers. They got 2 turnovers. They stopped the Pirates at their goal line. And, add it all up, Mansfield Senior with a resounding 55-21 victory over Rocky River. Nick DeSalvo did rip off a 70-yard touchdown run. With that, Rocky River ends their season at 10-2 as the Great Lakes Conference West Division champions. One last time, Julian Patty, 13 of 26 passing, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns on the pick. Nick DeSalvo, 10 rushes, 117 yards, and a touchdown. He also caught 5 passes for 28 yards. Ryan Ricchetti, phenomenal season, 6 catches, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also had 3 solo tackles on defense. Excuse me. And Josh Mammers had 2 solo tackles and 6 assists to help lead the Rocky River defense there. Mansfield Senior improves to 10-2. They will take on the number 1 seed, the undefeated and Division II state champion Toledo Central Catholic Fighting Irish. We'll talk about where that game is being played soon. Last and certainly not least, I will try to get through this game as quickly as possible. Let me ask Rob. Rob, where are we at? Is Jakorion on?
No, he is not.
Okay, I will move on then. The number 7 seed, the Buckeye Bucks, the Great Lakes East Division co-champions, took on the champions of the Metro Athletic Conference. And this game started out with a bang. Liam Phillips, freshman, had a 90-yard touchdown kickoff return for a touchdown to open the scoring from Buckeye, and they never trailed. They took a 28-14 halftime lead. that did stop. They did get a stop at the goal line of Norton to help preserve that lead. They maintained a 2-touchdown lead until the fourth quarter. Norton came within a 2-point conversion from tying the game at 49. Norton was able to force a punt. They got the ball back. They get down into Buckeye territory, but Buckeyes, all-world defensive lineman, offensive lineman Ben Medea, he got 2 sacks of quarterback Zach Bowman on the final drive. He then blocked a game-winning 33-yard field goal attempt by Colin Starling to preserve the victory for Buckeye. This game was nuts. And Buckeye comes away with a 49-47 victory. That was Norton's first field goal attempt of the season. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get the best of kicks off. But credit Buckeye for putting themselves in a spot to make that a tougher field goal than it could have been. Big props also to Carter Landis, the sophomore kicker, backup kicker for Buckeye. He hit all 7 extra points, and you saw how big that was when Norton had to play from behind there. For Buckeye, Casey Murray was 9 of 14 passing for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. He rushed 5 times for 12 yards and a touchdown as well. Future guests on our show, Troy McCann, 25 carries, 172 yards and a touchdown. And Gage Nagy, 17 carries, 139 yards and 3 touchdowns. Trey Weidenmeyer had 5 catches for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. I would be remiss if I did not mention the offensive effort of Norton. Zach Bowman was an absolute stud. 33 of 39 passing for 492 yards, 4 touchdowns. He also had a 2-point conversion. Lucas Dobbins had 15 carries for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Willig brothers were absolute studs. Noah had 19 catches for 231 yards and a touchdown, 2 touchdowns. His brother Buddy had 8 catches for 184 yards and a touchdown. Unreal numbers by Norton, but Buckeye just a little bit better on this night. Buckeye improves to 10-2 overall. They will take on number 3 Tiffin Columbian. Norton ends their season at 11-1. So with that, Rob, still good? No,
yeah, he is here now.
All right, fantastic. Let's take a quick break for a word with our sponsors. When we come back, we will have Avon running back Jakorion Caffey joining us on the show, followed by Buckeyes Gage Nagy and Troy McCann. You're watching the High School Football Show for Sports on Tap, presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
For handmade quality leather products, check out Hand and Built Leather Goods. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind. Check them out on their website at www.gvartwork.com and use the code ONTAP10 to get 10% off your full order. GV Art and Design.
Welcome back to the Sports on Tap High School Football Show, presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. You get to hear about Ray Felton State Farm Insurance and a lot of our other sponsors, RRT Productions, Hand Built Leather Made Goods, and GV Art and Design. Make sure you check out their websites, give them a call, and take advantage of their great products and services. All right, we are very happy, very pleased to be joined by Avon, all district, all state, pretty much all world running back, Jakorion Caffey, 4 touchdowns last week against Brecksville Broadview Heights in a Division II, Region 6 quarterfinal victory over the Bees. And we're happy to join him here. Jakorion, thanks for taking the time to join us tonight.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
You know, it seems we've been talking about you seems forever. You've certainly made an impact from even from a sophomore all the way up to this point as your senior year. So really, let's talk about the Brecksville game first. Brecksville comes out, they punch you in the face, they get a touchdown. You're playing from behind against Brecksville. What was the mindset coming back? Coming back from that score and then just barreling on throughout the rest of the game.
We didn't really get too shocked about the touchdown they had. We know they were a really good team, but we knew our defense was confident enough to only have them to 7 points. So we weren't too worried that they got their first touchdown, because after that, we didn't let them score at all. But it just helps that our defense is helping us a lot, and it can take a lot off our shoulders. But on offensive side, we eventually got it together, and the running game started to click, and I obviously scored a lot of points and helped my team to the victory. But, the running game definitely will start to click, and the passing game's always there if we need it. We have Nolan Good. He's a good passer. And then we have Tyler Kaufman as a good running back too also, and he takes a lot off my shoulders. So we have a lot of weapons around. We can use them on offense. And then, like I said, our defense is a big part of our team wins too, so we can always rely on our defense to step up whenever they need to.
Yeah, talk about the last few games you were somewhat limited, hampered by a little bit of an injury, and then you came back last week and came back and performed as you usually do. But for you, how was that? Missing some time and then getting right back into it. How was that for you personally? Did you find yourself, maybe it took you a couple of drives to get back into the flow, or were you ready to go, ready to get back in there as soon as the whistle blew?
Yeah, honestly, I was just nursing my ankle the whole week. I was questionable. I kind of played on an injury in the last game, and then it kind of made me not perform in the next game as much as I wanted to. But, I knew coming in that my team might need me at any time, even if my ankle's not feeling 100%. And that obviously happened in the game in round 1 against St. John Jesuit. I came in 4 plays and gave my team a boost. So I was definitely ready, and I knew I needed to be ready whenever my name was called upon, no matter how I'm feeling, if my team needs me. So it was kind of that situation. If my team needed me, and they obviously needed me, and I gave my team a boost, and that was that.
Jakorion, we again, as Ed mentioned, we've been kind of following you and Avon and for the last few years, and given the amount of, just the sheer amount of games you guys have played in your 3 years of varsity experience since a sophomore, you basically played, I think, if my math is correct, now don't check it or anything. Don't do that. But I think you've played 4 straight regular seasons, and that's not even including the time that you're currently playing in. Now, with all that experience, does that kind of make you the elder statesman of the varsity level on the team? Like, are you the guy that's like, I've seen it all, man. I've seen leads evaporate. I've seen us come back. I got this. Like, is there anything that you've seen that's surprised you in these 3, maybe this season or this playoff campaign?
Well, not really. My coach knows that I'm a very good playmaker, but he doesn't give me the ball 40 times a game or anything like that. He knows he can give me the ball 18 or 20 times, and I can still make a great impact on the game. So he just puts me in whenever he needs me to, and we obviously are a 50-50 team, so we obviously want to pass the ball too. So we like to play against both ways of the sides. Whatever we need, a pass game or the running game, we can go to both. So it's really all around team thing.
Jakorion, thank you for taking the time and joining us tonight. It feels like your guys' offense has been unbelievable throughout this season, but I just kind of try to talk about that offensive line. I mean, when you have a guy like Luke Hamilton who's blocking for you every single game, and just kind of talk about how the relationship you have for him and even some of the younger offensive linemen that you have.
Yeah, it's just great running behind Luke Hamilton and our offensive line because just the holes they create, it's so easy and natural for me just to run and run without thinking and score touchdowns I make. Because without them, I wouldn't be making the runs I would make because you obviously need a line to block for you. You can't do one versus 11. You need 11 versus 11. And that most of 11 is the line blocking for me, and that's part of the success for the run game. So it's just definitely a blessing to have a very good O-line, and especially Luke Hamilton, who's going to Michigan. He's obviously a great run blocker, and I'm love just running behind him. And no, I'm going to gain at least 10-plus yards or a touchdown. So it's just very fun, and I'm going to cherish the moments while I have it.
Oh, absolutely. And, it's been fun watching you guys continue to play at a high level and how you get along with all your teammates. I've been to a decent amount of games this year, and that's a nice thing. I mean, Coach Elder, like you explained it really well, Coach Elder knows how much talent this team has, and that obviously you touching the ball a lot is going to help the offense part of the ball game. But at the same time, you need 18 carries and you make a huge impact. I mean, you had 174 yards and 4 touchdowns in this playoff game, and you do have Tyler Kaufman, who I think we've seen a lot this year, and he's explosive too. Him, behind you, have you taught him a lot of what you've learned at the varsity level? Because it seems like you guys kind of have you're a quick hit offense where he hits that hole, he's through and he's gone too. He has kind of a similar running style. Obviously, he could be maybe he's not going to run over too many people like you have before, but it seems like you've taught him some things. And is that something that you took your leadership on to kind of teach Tyler how to run the football? Because he's only a junior this year.
Right. Yeah. Tyler came in and we know he was a great running back, and he definitely just came in and I kind of played the leadership role of teaching him all the basics of running back. But I give him a lot of credit because he's a very good running back too. He has his natural talents. But yeah, I definitely led him to follow in my footsteps and getting him to the position where hopefully he can be in my footsteps one day. So yeah, I just want to just have a great back and have a great back that can run just like me, that can take the wealth off my shoulders when I need it.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
It's just great to have a back like that.
Oh, yeah, to take a little bit of give you a break here and there. And I think that's when late in the game, you're probably at your best because, a lot of the defense is probably tired, and then you just run them over and get in the end zone. And like you said, Nolan Good's been great this season. I mean, your offense has put up some monster numbers. And talk a little bit about what it's meant to you at Avon. You broke so many rushing records this season. I mean, I think you broke, 3 records at Avon? You're the all-time leading rusher. I mean, what has that meant to you at Avon High School? And obviously, Coach Elder, I know it meant a lot, but what has it meant to you to break some of those records?
It's definitely a blessing I don't take for granted for sure, because I know a lot of people that played for Avon are very good, and Avon's historically a very good team that produces good players. So I definitely just want to cherish that for sure, because Avon's no bad school or anything. They're a very good school historically, and I just want to just say I'm blessed just to have all this accomplishments I'm having, because Avon historically is good, and all the times I've been here, they've had my back on and off the field, and just breaking records with Coach Elder that he's been coaching me for many years is such a great accomplishment. So.
Absolutely.
Talk with Avon running back Jakorion Caffey. Jakorion, we'll get you out of here shortly here. But with next week's opponent is a very familiar opponent. You've obviously played Olmsted Falls before, and you get them a second time in the same season. I don't think I'm asking too many prying questions here. I think you're quite familiar with them. So without giving too much away of what you guys are looking at, what are some of the things you think you need to do to succeed against Olmsted Falls in your second game against them this year?
We definitely want to come in with a game plan of 50-50 ball. Like we want to run the ball, but we also like to pass the ball also. We just definitely want to have both sides of the ball come in when we need to. And really rely on the side of whichever one is working better. And we can go on either or. And if that's the run game, we'll do it. If that's the passing game, so be it. I'm a great pass blocker, and I'm going to be out there for an all-down back whenever my team needs me. So whatever we want to do, whatever comes in play, run or pass.
There you go. Jakorion, I think we've been talking to Coach Elder about exactly that mindset, and Rob mentioned it earlier. I mean, you are certainly a running back that is capable of toting the ball 30 to 35 times in high school, and probably racking up 300-yard games left and right. But to your point, and to Rob's point, your program is so good, you don't need to do that. And when you need to make a play, you're capable, you're fresh, you're able to make the play, and being able to rely on so many great teammates has certainly made Avon the program that it is. Not just a great team, but a great program. Jakorion, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. We're really glad we got a chance to talk to you. Again, we've been following you for years, and you've had such great success. And I know if you have it your way, you're going to have a lot more success here in the next few weeks. So we're not going to, in this respect, we're not playing favorites. We will certainly say good luck to you this week because you are playing a team that we cover. But good luck against Olmsted Falls. Be safe, more importantly, and we'll see how it shakes out. Looking forward to seeing how the Eagles do against the Bulldogs. So thanks again.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Thanks, Jakorion. Good luck.
Jakorion. That is Avon running back Jakorion Caffey from just another long line of great Avon running backs, great Avon players. I mean, they're just a straight pipeline for colleges, and the program of Avon is fantastic. And since they've joined the Southwestern Conference, they've been an almost unmitigated success for as good as they have done, coming over really building themselves up from some of the conferences, the Bay Shore Conference or the West Shore Conference. I think is where they were at before with like Midview. Avon and Midview both came into the Southwestern Conference together, and both of those teams have had a good amount of success. Midview has fallen off a little bit, but Avon has certainly taken on. They're the undisputed leaders right now, and it's them until someone beats them.
I believe they've won 8 straight conference championships.
Goodness.
You gotta love the fact that, I mean, if you're, again, we're not biased here. We cover everybody, but if you're Coach Elder and you have a weapon like Jakorion Caffey and you don't have to overwork that weapon because you have other weapons like Nolan Good, that passing offense, and other running backs coming up. I mean, again, you hit it right on the head, Ed. Late game, they're not wearing down. They're getting stronger. They're able to put out fresh effort. How often do we see that in high school football? I mean, we barely see that in some colleges. And to have that ability to put 18 carries on the kid and have that performance, and that's light work for him at that point. Like, he has the ability to be that bell cow back, which is unreal. And we've seen it. I mean, I think myself, Rob, Josh, I think Noah, we've seen it in person. Like, this is not, flash pan. This guy has the mechanics, has the talent to go and play next level ball. And I think Coach Elder's done a great job in not wearing him out over, because it's so easy to do that. And you have to, take your hat off to that coaching staff. Like, they've developed their program and their current team around that, around that luxury of having a guy like Jakorion Caffey that can carry the load when he needs to. It's really impressive.
No doubt.
Rob, do we have our other?
They're in the waiting room unless you want to take a break and we'll come back on, or do you want to just go right?
Let's bring them on. They've been waiting. They've been waiting a little bit here. So let's
tee it high, let it fly, boys. Tee it high, let it fly. Let's go.
All right.
We are.
I love when you talk golf, baby.
Our next guests are from the Buckeye Bucks, the Great Lakes Conference East Division co-champions. So we're waiting for them to connect on here. Troy, McCann, and Gage, Nagy, just tremendous 1-2 duo. We do have that's Gage. Gage, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys?
We're great. Thanks for taking the time to join us here. We're waiting for to see if Troy can get on here, and. Let me set this. We'll set it up here for us here. Buckeye just had an absolute knockdown drag out affairs with Sandusky and Norton, and it's you guys have scored a lot of points and had contributions from all over the place. So before Troy gets on, Gage. Let's talk about we got to talk about the Norton game, obviously, and we'll cover the Sandusky game too. But the ebbs and flows, you guys played from ahead with the kickoff return for a touchdown by a freshman, no less. But how did that game? How was the flow of the Norton game from your perspective?
I just think so. We came in as underdogs, and we came in knowing that we needed to shut them up. And because everyone thought we were going to get blown out in that game, and we just pounded the ball down. We used our run game. It was unstoppable.
It was certainly, to that point, it was certainly a game of two styles. Zach Bowman threw the ball a lot. I'll just say that. And you guys obviously ran. Hey, Troy, how you doing? You there? Well, we got his face. But anyway, so
good. How are you?
Good. Thanks.
All right.
We're talking about we're obviously talking about the game, the Norton game. You guys came out on top, 49-47, playing from ahead. Gage had mentioned that being the underdogs, it seemed like you guys really relished that role going against an undefeated team like Norton. The two contrasting styles. They threw the ball a lot. You guys ran the ball a lot. What was it about their defense that you guys thought you could succeed on them?
I just think that our offensive line outpowered their whole defense. Our left side of the line, Ben Medea, Curtis Gunkelman. They just manhandled their whole side of the defense.
Troy?
I mean, I definitely think our line did an amazing job last Friday night, and then Gage obviously blocking, making some great holes too.
Yeah, that's one thing. You guys would like to double the dynamic duo running the ball. When a game is going like that, and you guys are getting, runs, you're getting your yards, chunk plays, what have you. How does that feel when whatever they're doing on the offensive end, when you guys get the ball, you can match that? And in this game against Norton, you guys did that very well.
I just know no one could stop us too. We're a force. No one can match our energy that we put on the field.
Troy?
I definitely think it's one of the most exciting moments, just knowing that you're able to consistently run the ball down somebody's throat and impose your will.
Nice.
I like that answer. That's my favorite. Run it down the throat. I like that. Guys, we've been following Buckeye for a long time, and you guys have, and that program itself has been really, really impressive over the last couple of years. So much so that I think at some point you guys are just winning games by winning games by winning games. So you guys did run into a little bit of adversity this year. You had a tough loss to, kind of later in the season. And my question to you guys is, as players, do you guys kind of take that? And you mentioned earlier that everyone thinks you're the underdogs. Did that kind of refocus your team a little bit? Like, hey, we're not, superstar. We're not unbeatable. We can be beat. We gotta play even harder. Did that loss kind of allow you guys to play with that intensity, that anger, so to speak, to prove everybody wrong that was a fluke? We're Buckeye. We're here to stay.
I think we needed those two, so then we didn't have a chip on our shoulder going into the playoffs. And then that win against Normandy gave us that momentum back to just steamroll over everyone in the playoffs too.
Troy?
Yeah, I definitely think the two losses really helped us refocus and make us realize that we're not all stars and that we have weaknesses, and it helped us focus on what we needed to fix for the playoffs.
Gage and Troy, thank you for taking the time and joining us tonight. Coach Dennison has been at Buckeye for 7+ years, and it kind of feels like he's been pretty excited about getting this win, because it feels like you guys have not won like 2 playoff games in your school history. But just kind of talk about, what was Coach Dennison's message after that big-time win against Norton after the game?
He reminded us that was like the Copley game we played last year, just a back-and-forth shootout. We needed to just go down. Our defense was struggling a little bit. We needed to just go down and score every time we got the ball.
That you did. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the last 2 weeks. I mean, Brandon Bonnet is your guys' your first string kicker, and he is fantastic. He hasn't been available the last 2 weeks. Carter Landis has been phenomenal for you guys. I mean, making all the extra points this past week, the field goal against Sandusky. So you guys are getting contributions from all over the place throughout the program. So talk about some of the other teammates that you have. You mentioned Ben and Curtis earlier. Troy? I'll start with you. Who are some of the other players that have really been making an impact for Buckeye across the board?
I mean, our defensive players like Travis, Trey, our whole D line, and our corners have definitely stepped up a lot this year and made some improvements from last year. I think our special teams been pretty on point with people like Braden, Carter, Roman, and all those kids.
Very nice. Yeah, they like you said, when we talk Buckeye, you have athletes all over the place. And when we talk about Buckeye, it's a lot of, smash mouth football. Who are some of your guys, in the past? Buckeye has had some great athletes. We've covered a lot of games from Buckeye. Who are some of the past players that you guys looked up to and said, I want to base my game off of them?
I really looked up to Jacob Durkee because he used to lead the rushing record, and I just liked the way he just pounded the ball. He got the ball like every single play, and he was unstoppable.
Absolutely. What about you, Troy? Any players that stick out that?
I think one of the ones that have definitely stuck out to me was Ben Barnes. He showed me the ropes my freshman year, taught me how to be a physical runner, fast, and just hit the holes and go at somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are some great players that Buckeye had. And you guys have quite the following on our YouTube. A lot of Buckeye Bucks fans have come out. Maybe some of these guys are playing. Actually, Casey Murray I've heard of. I think you guys have a little bit of a following on YouTube.
Let's talk about Casey. As we've seen the stats over the whole season. You two are the main ball carriers, obviously, and the stats bear that out. But Casey is also a very capable quarterback. Not only running the ball, not only just passing the ball, but also running the ball. What kind of elements, does Casey bring to the table when it comes to making teams pay for loading the box on both of you guys?
I think Casey's a phenomenal player. Whenever we need a play, he'll step up and make it. Like against Sandusky, that final drive, we had 50 seconds left. 4th and 10, he threw a ball straight down the middle to Trey Whittemeyer, converted that, ran the ball 30, 40 yards, got us in field goal range. Whenever we need a big play, he's there to step up.
And secondly, I think one of the other big players too, and I'll defer to Troy on this one too. Ben Medea really stepping in to the shoes that I think that Todd Allen left. I mean, Todd Allen was a major player for you guys for years, even as a freshman. But what kind of impact has Ben Medea had for you guys, both offensively and defensively?
Yeah, Ben's definitely stepped up and filled those shoes that Todd left behind. He makes great defensive plays. Just like last Norton, he made 2 sacks on their drive down the field to try and win the game, and then he blocked the field goal to win us the game.
Yeah, he's a big time player there, no doubt, along the lines of you guys. So this week, you guys take on Tiffin Columbian, a very, very tough team from the northwestern part of the state. Without giving too much away, what are you guys looking at as far as being able to succeed against their defense, and then conversely stopping them on offense?
I think our offense will do fine against them. I don't think anybody can stop our offense. I think for sure our defense needs to step up really big for this game.
Troy?
Yeah, I definitely think our offense will be able to hold our own, and hopefully our defense will step up, make some plays here and there, and then we'll get the win.
Yeah, that's well. Listen, unlike the last interview where we had to kind of toe the line there's no line towing here. We are 100% behind Buckeye in this game. We thank you guys for taking the time to come on our show. You guys have, Buckeye's been just a tremendous program over the years, and we're really happy we got the chance to talk to you guys, especially while you guys are still playing. So best of luck this week against Tiffin. Come out healthy and hopefully come out with a win, and we can hopefully keep talking about Buckeye as the season keeps going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate your time, and
thank you guys
good
for
luck
having
coming
us.
up. Yeah, appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That is Buckeye running backs, the dynamic duo of Gage, Nagy, and Troy McCann joining us here on the show. Those two guys really, it's almost like a Valley Forge type of way of playing where the running backs get the ball a lot, but it's not it's obviously a different way that they do it. It's not a wing T or a triple option that they run. They just line up and they say, we're going to run it this way, and you guys got to stop it. And a lot of teams have not been able to stop it. So Manoa, you made a good point. This is the first year that they've won 2 playoff games in the same season. And, so every win they play thereafter is making history. And Coach Dennison is no stranger to that, given his exploits as the Wadsworth head coach for 20 years or so. So they have a steady hand at their head coach. They have a stud offensive lineman and defensive lineman, Ben Medea. Their special teams play has obviously made a huge difference. Buckeye's a tough out. I think Columbian is a very, very good team. They're one of the few teams I think that didn't give up 80 points to Perkins. They gave up 55, but they scored 28 in return. This is certainly not going to be a slouch game for Buckeye as they travel to Bellevue for this game.
So what do you think, Ed? Is this going to be a high-scoring affair here? Are we talking Buckeye has pulled out 2 games. They've come up clutch. Let's put it that way. They've had 2 close games in the playoffs. They haven't buckled under pressure. They're almost living for those close games, and I think their fans are obviously already. They've been watching this show like crazy here tonight. Our YouTube has exploded. A lot big fans of Buckeye here, but
make sure you subscribe. We're 10
That's
away
right.
from
Yes, please
1,000, so subscribe.
but I think, I mean, what a
comes
way
later,
to pull
Josh.
that off, though. Especially against a really good Norton team. They were pretty confident that no team's going to stop them offensively. It's going to be a great game coming up.
Yeah, and to your point, Rob, and it feels like what Gage was kind of talking about, like the defense, it feels like they really need to step out, because I think their season hinges with the defense coming up against a very good Tiffin Columbia team. I think what he said with the offense, I think they'll be doing just fine with Troy McCann, Gage, Nagy, Casey Murray, and that offensive line by Ben Medea. And it should be a very high-scoring affair in this one, and possibly right down to the end, to where it was in Sandusky and Norton.
I agree with you guys. Buckeye, they took a couple shots with losses to Valley Forge, which really picked up steam at the end there, and Gilmore, which we will hear about here shortly. Oddly enough, when they played Aurora, those are two. Valley Forge's record may not be the best, but they're a quality team.
Mm-hmm.
You're a co-champion of the division for a reason. I think Gage made a really good point that they had Normandy at the end of the year, and Normandy had played very, very good football despite their record. They were in a lot of games, and they took the wind out of Normandy's sails right away, and they didn't look back. And I think they've really continued that momentum going forward, obviously, with these wins over two very good programs in Sandusky and a Norton team that the second round has bitten them and has got them again, or third round. But they've entered another game undefeated, and they lost to another Great Lakes Conference foe. Holy Name beat them last year, and Buckeye gets them this year. So I think Tiffin Columbians are very, very good. It's gonna be a tough game for Buckeye, no question, no doubt about that. But I think Buckeye they have the moxie, they have the players, and if they can stay away from turnovers. If they can play from ahead again, I don't know if they're gonna be able to get another rip off and under kickoff return, and that being that that's on tape now. Whoever gets the ball first will probably want to avoid that, but it's gonna be a tough game. I think it's gonna be a great game. I'm looking forward to seeing how that game will turn out.
Absolutely.
All right. I wanted to, before Sean can get let's get Division III Region 9 back up here. While that's going on, I didn't give Rocky River, I don't think, nearly as much credit as I needed to, just due to time constraints. But Coach Wells, Coach of the Year for Division III, the Lakes District. But if I know Coach Wells, it's all the players. They all made it up. They made a commitment at the beginning of the year that last year wasn't going to happen again. We talked to Julian Patty, and he had a tremendous year. Ryan Ricchetti, Nick DeSalvo, there's just the whole team. Great Lakes Conference West Division champions. You can't ask for a better regular season. And obviously, they just ran into a buzzsaw that was Mansfield. And unfortunately, due to the circumstances that are way beyond anyone's control, and at that point, we're crossing over between just football and life. But, given the circumstances, great season by Rocky River. And we look forward to seeing what they'll do in the offseason. All right, Division III, Region 9, Youngstown Ursuline. We will have a new Division III champion. Youngstown Ursuline defeats Canfield 16-13. Tough game there. Villa Angela St. Joe's, led by a new version of Bo Jackson, Lamar Jackson, junior, absolute stud for Coach Rotsky, who is now at Villa Angela St. Joe's. They get a 43-14 victory over Kenston. They shut down Sean Patrick, and they advance. Chardon defeats Geneva, the number 2 seed, going down 28-14. And our last featured game of this week was between Gilmore and Aurora. This game was played in Aurora. Coach Mahalik going for a milestone victory, but Josh was there. Take it away on this one.
Yeah, this was a really intense, some at times crazy game. And Aurora actually got the game started. Dom Trevisano got the interception. That led to an Enzo Quintana Container, whatever. I apologize. Great effort, but not so great effort on his name.
Antonia.
Antonia. Thank you, Sean. I apologize to Enzo. He had a great 15-yard touchdown run in this one. Then there was also a crazy safety that Aurora had. Gilmore was in the end zone. Their quarterback, Jake Kavsick went to go throw the ball. It was tipped. He caught it, threw it again. It was a legal double pass in the end zone for the safety. So Aurora was actually up 9-0 in this game. Going back then, Ben Lukasic had an 8-yard touchdown run in this.
Good effort.
Lukasic, thank you. That's why I stick to the Natty. American's tougher for me.
I'm just helping. I'm not undermining. I'm really not.
But in all seriousness, Ben had an 8-yard touchdown run in the second quarter to make the game 16-7. Gilmore would then get a 50-yard touchdown reception from brothers Andy Kavsick from Jake Kavsick, and it made 16-14 at the half. Now to start the third, the momentum kind of shifted towards Gilmore in this one. Kingston Steele actually tipped the pass, caught it, ran it into the end zone for a touchdown. But Aurora would then fight back. I didn't even get video of this one, but it was on the ensuing kickoff. Our buddy Ben had an 85-yard touchdown kickoff return for the touchdown. The 2-point conversion did not work, however, but Aurora still had the lead 22-21 with 10 minutes and 18 seconds left in the third quarter. Now in the fourth quarter, down 27-22, Brendan Lipens. Did I get that one right, Sean?
Yes, you did.
He's sleeping.
Thank you. Scores on a 15-yard run for touchdown. Zach Panetti ran in the 2-point conversion to make the score 30-27 with 10 minutes to go. These two teams would exchange drives, but the Aurora defense was able to maintain and secure the victory for Coach Mahalik. That is his 200th career victory as head coach of Aurora. They had a really nice ceremony for him after the game. You can head over to our Twitter page to watch. He actually gave a little speech at the 50-yard line and really had some nice words to say about the community. His parents were there. His family was there. A lot of alumni was there. It was quite impressive to see that. But Aurora still continues on their winning ways. They improved their record to 11-1 on the season. Brandon Lipens was 12 of 20 for 190 yards passing and that one rushing touchdown. Ben Lukasic, I'm sorry, 43 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 57 yards receiving. And Ed, you sent this over, and I appreciate that. Lucas Manderbach for Aurora, the junior defensive end, had 6 tackles, 2 sacks against Gilmore, and he set the Aurora single-season record for sacks with 11, and that's actually from Matt Gould on Cleveland.com. So appreciate that little tidbit from him. Aurora, it was a crazy game. Gilmore came out. Their fans were really passionate. Definitely did not agree with a lot of the referee calls. Heard some good language out there. Little fearful that things are going to get a little.
I mean, let's be positive, folks. You know, let's enjoy the game.
It was intense. The referees did a really good job. I'll give them credit. They didn't miss many calls. Maybe a couple pass interferences they may have missed with the defender getting there a tad early. But needless to say, both teams came out, and this was a knockout, drag-out battle between these two teams. And Aurora does move on. A very good victory, a well worth it victory, a hard fought victory. And as they move on,
bada bing, bada boom.
Great job, both Noah and Josh on the coverage there.
I will say that the recap video that you'll see on our YouTube page, which again, go subscribe if you haven't, is a lot better than my recap I just did right there. Even though it was a good effort, I could be better. I was showing it while you were talking about it. So I mean, there's some great highlights there. And if they want to see the full video, I apologize to the Aurora players for screwing up their names pretty bad. I'll get it better. I'll get it right next time.
Good effort.
just like a good player would do. We'll watch the tape, do better the next week. That's all you can do.
No diggity, no doubt.
All right, so that wraps up our regional quarterfinal coverage for the Ohio High School Athletic Football Playoffs. Let's get to the regional semifinal matchups here. In Division One, Region One, this game will be played at Byers Field in Parma, Ohio. The number 1 seed, the reigning, defending Division One state champion St. Edward Eagles, are going to take on the Canton McKinley Bulldogs. And then Medina will take on Cleveland Heights, a Greater Cleveland Conference rematch. Lots of scoring. This game will take place at Strongsville High School at Packatan Stadium. Noah, just one brief word, brief sentence here about what you think is going to happen. What you think is going to happen in this game?
Well, one brief word in this week 8 matchup was points. These teams combined for 114 points in this week 8 matchup, in a game which Cleveland Heights did beat Medina 62-52. I'll just kind of run through those week 8 stats as we go along in the show. Medina quarterback Danny Stoddard, he was 29 of 48 for 495 yards and 7 touchdowns. He did also have 5 interceptions in that game, but he did have 22 carries for 112 yards and a touchdown. I still say his name, and I think he will have a great game on Friday night. Marquis Stewart Davis, he had 29 carries for 359 yards and 6 touchdowns. Both of these teams had 81 first-half points. Both of these teams combined for 1,153 yards, 48 first downs, 8 turnovers in this game. The biggest difference was for Medina. They had 6 of those in that game, 28 penalties for 259 yards. 19 of those was from Cleveland Heights for 171 yards. And guys, this has all the makings to be possibly a great game, a Division I, regional semifinal action. And when you talk about for Medina, this is going to be possibly their biggest game of the year, if not, because I feel like the turnover battle, because when you're giving up so many turnovers in this game, you've got to be possibly you got to possibly be better than
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Noah.
You gotta limit turnovers. I mean, it's the name of the game, and they got away with it. They were able to hang with Cleveland Heights for the majority of that game in week 8, and like you broke down, and great stats there. But you can't give the ball away 5 times. You limit those turnovers from 5 down to 3. You got yourself.
You might pull that off.
Because I think if I'm not mistaken, Cleveland Heights turned each one of those 5 interceptions into points. Whether I think it was a field goal or a touchdown or something like that. Like, you cannot allow a team like Cleveland Heights. If you got them down, you got to keep your foot on their neck, man, because you can't let them up, because they will hand it off to Marquise Davis and he'll go. And that guy's been doing it all year. And I agree with you. I think this is going to be probably the showcase matchup in Division I region.
I say final score 14-10.
How dare you?
Especially defensive battle there. All right, let's shift over to Division II, Region 5. Riverside is going to take on Archbishop Hoban. That game will be played at somewhere. It's in Twinsburg.
We can confirm somewhere.
That game will be played in Twinsburg. And then Hudson will take on Walsh Jesuit. Nice. That game will be played in Ravenna. Josh, quickly about this game, what does Hudson need to do to succeed against Walsh?
Well, they're going to have to keep doing what they're doing, but they're going to have to do it better. Walsh is coming in 11-1 on the season. They are no joke. And Hudson's been, getting by these first 2 playoff games. They've come away with an overtime win and then a late touchdown in the fourth quarter to go ahead and win that game. They're going to have to continue to what they do best. They're going to have to play solid defense, even better defense, and they're going to have to really establish a solid run. I was happy to see Peyton Ayer come through and have a solid passing game. That is, if he can continue to be efficient and even become a little bit better in terms of more yards and make that another weapon for them, well, then Hudson will be able to compete in this one for sure.
All right, let's move on to Division II, Region 6, a couple of familiar games here. Rob, Avon, and Olmsted Falls, this game's going to take place in your backyard in North Ridgeville. These two teams have already played. There's not a whole lot to say about this one, but what do you got here?
Well, Olmsted Falls, defensively, they're going to have to try to contain a really good offense. And then for Avon, they're going to probably stack the box and say Olmsted Falls beat me with the pass. I think that's what they need to do. But Olmsted Falls, you just want to keep yourselves into the game at the end and give yourself a shot to win. And if you can do that, you might be you might be right there to win it. But Avon's offense, running and passing, it's tough to contain. But that's what Olmsted Falls is going to have to do. They're going to have to hang around. And Coach Pace, we know, is going to scheme against this Avon team. They've tried and tried. Can they do it on this night? We'll wait and see. As in Ranger country, it's a nice stadium. Let's see what happens there.
And the first matchup was a Week 6 battle, a 52-10 victory for Avon over Olmsted Falls there. Highland is going to take on Anthony Wayne. That game will be played in Sandusky at Orlando Pace Field or Stadium, or the Fighting Orlando Paces, wherever Cedar Point Stadium, I think at Orlando Pace Field, whatever. Highland is going to take on a very, very good Anthony Wayne team, Sean. We talked about how good their Highlands defense is, and how aggressive they've been since their loss to Aurora. What do they need to do in this game?
They got to keep playing angry. They got to keep playing pissed off and ready to prove everybody that wrong that thinks that they're not good enough to be in that regional championship. Highland needs to continue doing what they've been doing offensively, but defensively they got to pick up their game, because I understand they were at this point last year. We've talked about Highland before. Coach Gibbons knows this more than anyone. Highland's been a dark horse team. They got to play out of their heads, I think, a little bit, and take Anthony Wayne, real early and make it, and either A, drag them down into a rock fight, or B, get on the turbo jets and go nuts and score points. I think that's Highland's two options there. I think if they're in a back and forth game, I think Anthony Wayne has the ability to do that and to win that type of game. I think Highland has to play with confidence but keep playing angry. And that's what they've been doing these last 2 weeks. Since that Aurora loss, Highland has played complementary football in all aspects and done a very good job of limiting opportunities of the other team. I think Highland has a very good shot to win this game. But again, Anthony Wayne is in this division is kind of that X factor to me. We don't cover them. We don't know a lot about them, but we didn't know a lot about Toledo Central Catholic last year, and they rolled through this region pretty handily. So can Anthony Wayne come from out in the Northwest and do it again in a similar fashion? We'll see. But obviously here at Sports on Tap, we're pulling for our boys out of Highland, and we're hoping they can pull out a win to set up possibly another a Sports on Tap bowl for the regional championship. That's what I want.
Boom. Let's go.
Let's move on to Division 3, Region 9. We do have the number 1 seed, Youngstown Ursuline Fighting Irish. They're going to take on Villa Angela St. Joe's. This game will take place in Alliance, Ohio, at Marlington Stadium. And then not too far from there not too far from there. It's way far from there. On the east side, it will be at Menors, Jerome T. Osborne Stadium. It will be Aurora taking on Chardon. Chardon, winners of 2 of the last 3 Division III state championships. Aurora, again, the Suburban League American Conference winner. What do you think? What do you got here, Sean, for Aurora?
Yeah, I mean, look, Aurora is an interesting team, right? They've done what they needed to do up to this point, but it's weird looking at this, dichotomy of these 2 matchups. You got Villa Angela St. Joe's, a relative newcomer in the current state of things, congratulations to Coach Rotsky getting that team to this point, playing Youngstown Ursuline, probably the team that upset the Division III champion last year. But then on the other side of it, you got the perennial blue bloods of this particular region, Chardon and Aurora. So, these teams are well equipped. They've met each other in the playoffs before. I think Aurora can do pretty good in this game. I think Chardon may be a little bit down. Brandon Lipens, Ben Lukasik, Enzo Cantanilla, those are the guys that they're going to rely on. I look for Aurora's defense to play a bigger role in this game, to be quite honest with you. I think Aurora's defense has been a little bit maligned this year. I think they galvanized themselves with that win over Highland for the championship game in Week 10, and they've been able to kind of build off of that defensively going forward. I'm not afraid to say this. I say go Greenman. Knock off what are the Hilltoppers? Is that what they're called?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Well, I'll take a green man over a Hilltopper any day of the week, twice on Sunday, and that's all the news that's fit to print about this division.
All right, and then last and certainly not least, Division III, Region 10, the number 1 seed, the Division II state champion Toledo Central Catholic Fighting Irish are going to take on Mansfield Senior. That game will be played at Clyde. I think that's gonna be a really good game. Mansfield Senior has had some pretty good success over the last few years, so that's gonna be a great game. And then of course Buckeye is gonna take on Tiffin Columbia, and that game will be played in Bellevue. We talked a lot about this game already. I'll keep this one short. I think a lot of points are going to be scored. It could just very easily be who either gets one stop or who has the ball last could potentially win this game. Buckeye played from ahead because they scored a touchdown from the opening kick, and they ran away and tried to hide. Norton almost caught them, but they were able to get away at the end. I think that'll a big special teams play will be the difference there. All right, that's what we have going on next week. I believe we have a couple games that we may be going to visit next week. Noah, I think we know where you're going. Why don't you tell us where you're headed?
Well, guys, I didn't go to this Week 8 matchup down in Cleveland Heights, but I'm excited for this matchup. I think this has all the makings in Division I, Region 1, regional semifinal. I'll be headed down to Strongsville. I wanted to see the number 6 seed, the Medina V's. They'll be taking on the defending Greater Cleveland Conference champion, the number 2 seed, the Cleveland Heights Tigers. Both of these teams, I said earlier in the Week 8 matchup, they combined for 114 points, and we'll see how it comes. Because in the first half, both of these teams combined for 81 points in this first half, and you never know how this comes. But I think for the biggest keys in this game for Medina, it's going to be the turnover battle, because you can't force yourself to have that many turnovers, because Cleveland Heights, they did have a couple onside recoveries in this game. And for Cleveland Heights, it's about the penalties. If you force yourself to have that many penalties with 19 of those for 171 yards, you've got to be better. And if you get better at the penalized game, you're going to win this game. So, again, this has all the makings to be possibly a big game in Division I, Region 1, regional semifinal action at Strongsville.
Stretch out those fingers, Noah. If there's a lot of scoring, those fingers got to be ready. A power charger, because your phone might take a toll. Or are you hoping for a 14-10 game?
I don't know. Maybe my charger might need a whole lot more plug-in in this game.
Yeah, I would believe it.
No doubt. All right,
Joshua.
I don't know if we talked about where else we were going this week yet, have we?
Well, yeah, we're gonna let him be on mute for a minute.
Yeah, that is our AV. He almost got through the whole.
There he is.
We should have let him go.
Now it's a show, baby.
Dude, you should have let him. We should have let him go and see how long it would have taken.
That was my favorite.
Not my best effort tonight. I want to first apologize to my family because I disgraced our name.
Oh God.
Man.
You were launching into it too. I love it. Go.
Well, I was gonna say thank you to the OHSAA for putting most of the games within an hour's distance of my home location. So with that being said, I'm going to dip my toes in the Southwestern Conference, and I'm going to go see Avon Lake Eagles play the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs.
Oh, again.
Oh, boy. The Avon Lake Eagles. They're not going to
said it. See? You know what? I'm going to see Listen. I'm gonna go see Avon, and I'm gonna see Olmsted Falls. Avon, Olmsted Falls. So, guys, that's gonna end it for me tonight. I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna bid everyone a farewell. Goodbye now. Take care.
That's Cullinan in the bid.
Oh man, he did sign off.
Well, I'd like to thank Avon for all their support over the years, but I think we just lost them for any more interviews for that.
I like Josh's picture he has up. It looks awfully cold.
Yeah, it does look cold.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that's going to be a great game, Josh. I think that game has the potential to be a really sneaky good game between those two teams. Again, there's so much familiarity with them that it's like, you almost have to win by like something out of the realm, like a weird, like a crazy long field goal or something like that. We'll see. It's always going to be there. But guys, we all know I'm not going to go into a big diatribe about this simply because I'm tired. The hour time change screwed me all up. I don't know what time it is. I'm very tired. But I'm going to tell you this: no matter how tired I am, I still make sure that I do what I tell you every week to do, and that is go to our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, smash the notifications bell, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your friends, tell your cousin, tell your crazy Aunt Mabel out there in Colorado to make sure they're logging in each week to see our beautiful faces doing what we do best, and that's breaking down high school football and high school sports the way it's meant to be. I'll also do this. I would be remiss, as Ed would say, I would be remiss if I did not bring up my alma mater, the Vandalia Butler Aviators. Ran into a bit of a buzzsaw in this past week, losing 42-7, taking nothing away from Coach of the Year, Zach Geith, the guy that I played football with. He's coaching my alma mater, doing a great job, got voted Coach of the Year for their particular division. So congratulations, Coach Geith. You did a great job with our Aviators. Keep it up. Great job. But again, I will mention this one last time. If you're not following Sports on Tap, you are not up to date on the best high school sports action in the state of Ohio, possibly the world. And that's on you. I can't do it anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm out.
I will just end this mercifully. Big props to my wife's alma mater, Lowville. The Rockets do get a 32-7 victory. They avenged their only regular season loss to Berlin Center Western Reserve, and their reward will be a matchup against number 2 seed Danville. That game will be played at Massillon Perry High School in Division 7, Region 25. All right, this game. I think we keep saying these may run a little bit shorter because we have less recaps. Yet here we are,
even longer
for a third consecutive week. But nonetheless, you're not going to get this. You're not going to get this football talk literally anywhere else.
True that.
We hope you guys have enjoyed. We talked with Jakorion and Caffey from Avon and Gage, Nagy, and Troy McCann from Buckeye. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, get those notifications.
Watch it again.
Watch it again. This will be
not this part. Don't watch this part.
No,
watch the interviews. The ending of this show. Forget about it. But watch the interviews.
Mute this part. But as soon as we sign off, make sure you hit.
Oh, don't worry. I could do that just fine. Apparently,
you should do that. Yes.
Speaking of the mute button,
you're fantastic at that. But follow us on Twitter at SOT Podcast. Website sportsontap.podcast.com. On Facebook at Sports on Tap, Threads, SOT_podcast, and of course, Sports on Tap podcast at gmail.com. Stick around for a few more minutes, I promise. It's almost over. But here are a couple of words from our awesome sponsors. Ray Felton State Farm Insurance, GV Artwork and Design, RRT Productions, and Hand-Built Leather-Made Goods. For Rob Troutman, Noah Jacobson, Sean Duffy, and Josh Jeffy, my name is Ed Dick, and we'll see. This is the Sports on Tap High School Football Show presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance, and we'll see you on the other side.
On every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
With the auto insurance market constantly changing, call a professional that will put your needs first. Ray Felton State Farm is a team of licensed professionals that will assess your risk, explain coverage in detail, and assure you understand what would happen if you ever found yourself in a claim situation. You can visit rayfelton.com or call their office at 234-284-2996 for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, and life insurance needs.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.